some people are going to see this for the first time and be like, oh, I thought that was real, because a lot of people thought this was real. And what we mean by this is obviously the headline that 62 million men joined a grape academy in February. Okay. Logic probably should have set in, and you should have said, hey, let me copy this and let me put this in ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity or Gemini or DeepSeek or any of these, and then check and see whether or not it's true. And then in about 8 to 7 seconds, you would have figured out that it wasn't true. But a lot of people decided to go ahead and run with that article, or run with that title that 62 million men had joined it, even though CNN, who wrote the original article, didn't even say that.
62 million men.
62 million men.
62 million men.
62 million men.
62 million motherfucking men.
If you have been on the social media for the past few days, you probably came across videos that claim that 62 million men attended online RAPE Academy. So what actually happened? On March 26, 2026, CNN published an article that deals with a very serious issue: drug-facilitated sexual abuse, hidden online communities, survival stories, and the way these spaces help men exchange tactics on how to abuse women and avoid detection. And it is not some cheap clickbait story. It is a real investigation with real reporting work behind it, real interviews, and real victims at the center of it. So genuinely, I encourage people to actually go and read that article. But then something very frustrating happened online. Something that almost discredited the great and important work those journalists did. A lot of influencers took that story and turned it into something else. They started saying that 62 million men visited a global RAPE academy. And of course, that spread like fire. But then people started looking into it more closely and saying, wait a second, something here doesn't sound right. And that is where the whole thing starts falling apart. Because first of all, it was not 62 million men. The viral claim was taking a visits number and turning it into men. Second, it talked about the visits on the porn site, overall visits, not separated by gender, specific category, or any other way. Third, the specific RAPE Academy element people were talking about was tied to a Telegram group that the report describes as being around 1,000 members, which is still disgusting, still horrifying, but it is obviously not the same as saying 62 million men attended some online course in RAPE. That is not a small mistake. That is not a little wording issue. That is a massive misrepresentation of what people were actually looking at. And then, of course, some of the people who spread it came back with the usual defense. Who cares if it was men or visits? Who cares if the number was wrong? Who cares if it was misrepresented? What matters is the message. No, that is not how this works. Because the message does matter, but the facts matter too. And this is my issue with it. The original CNN story is already serious enough. You do not need to inflate it. You do not need to lie on top of it. You do not need to turn it into a slogan that sounds better on social media. If you actually care about the issue, then you should care about getting it right. Because when you spread blatant misinformation, you are not helping women. You are not helping victims. You are not helping awareness. You are making it easier for people to dismiss the whole subject and say, here we go again. More fake outrage, more fake numbers, more agenda pushing. And that is the issue here. The journalists did real work. They investigated a real and ugly problem. They spoke to real victims. They put together a serious article. And then a bunch of influencers took that work, ripped the nuance out of it, replaced it with a viral claim, and started acting like accuracy no longer matters because their intentions are supposedly good. But good intentions do not excuse false information. In fact, when the topic is this serious, accuracy matters even more.
Overall, though, what does it tell you about society that anyone would be willing to believe that possibly a third of the male American population was training themselves to rape women? What is that? What I'm asking you is if that anyone believe that, what does that indicate to you? Anybody?
I think we're already divisive in everything. And I think the culture that we have going on right now creates divisiveness. I mean, you look at any type of platform where it's women empowerment even. It's like we're empowering but disempowering at the same time.
Maybe infantilizing because of the empowerment. Sheryl Sandberg saying that woman who's a tradcon is misogynistic. To be a tradcon woman, to be a trad wife. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just think people are incredibly tribal. That's nature. That's human nature to be tribal, but we become very divisive in that. And so just to hear, this number, this alarming number, I think everyone's just looking for, confirmation of what they already believe.
There's a great book on this you should read. It's called Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker. And he goes over how the world is so much better, but if you watch the news, it seems like it's terrible. Right. What do you guys think that has happened to the amount of sexual assault that's happened over the last 50 years? Do you think it's gone up or down? Anybody?
Probably gone up.
Interesting. Anybody else?
I would say it's gone up because the population has just increased and more people have become, of sexual age.
Yeah, it's gone dramatically down. Like exquisitely, like by like a order of magnitude. It's gone down.
But based on what statistic?
But any statistic reporting, and this is all across the entire world. And part of the reason why is for the same reason that you're bringing up, like the consequences for sexual assault, especially because of video and audio, the consequences for it, it's much easier. It's not easier to catch people. Obviously, a lot of sexual assault does not get caught or prosecuted, but the overall amount that happens is actually way less than it was. We do have a bit of a police state where you can film everything, but no, it's not even close to what it was in the 1950s. The 1990s were actually bad, but in the last 30 years, it's dropped significantly. So
I think there's a lot to do with forensics as well, DNA technology.
Exactly.
That.
Oh, for sure. Well, by the way, you know what else is down? Women cuckolding men. Since DNA technology in the 1980s, that doesn't happen as much anymore. Why? Because the consequences are pretty dire. You can tell when something's not your child, and so the amount of sexual assault technology would reduce that as well. My point is, if it's reduced, how in the world could a third of the male population of the United States, and that includes elderly and children under the age of 16, a third of them are training to sexually assault women? How could that even possibly be true? So for those of you who don't know, it wasn't 62 million men, it was 62 million visits to a website. And on the website wasn't promoting SA. The website was a small subsection. You know how you guys can see where it says like MILFs and all these different categories, stepbrother, whatever. One of the categories was called sleep, and people were filming each other sleep, not assaulting each other while they're sleeping, but they were filming each other sleep. In one of the sleep videos, there was a link, and the link took you to a Telegram group, and the Telegram group had just under 1,000 people in it. And in that Telegram group that had 900 and something people in it, in that Telegram group, people were sharing secrets on how to drug their partners. Horrible what's going on. Absolutely terrible. Not 62 million, though.
I am curious where they got the language for academy from.
Oh, probably from Andrew Tate's stuff.
That's exactly where I'm
probably
going.
from Andrew Tate's academy.
And that's why this got legs, is because they included the word academy. It sounded like something that might have been passed over or passed around on Louis Theroux's Inside the Manosphere. And those guys are they have universities and academies and stuff like that. And I think that's honestly, I think and it sounds like it's organized. It sounds like okay, we're paying a membership fee so we can learn how to do this. And didn't I hear that last month on that documentary on Netflix? Again, they're gonna do it anyways because it's gonna get clicks. You're gonna get engagement out of that for sure. But again, I hate it when people want to say like, oh, the manosphere is dividing the gender divide, blah blah blah. I'm like, you don't need the manosphere for that. So you just have everybody's doing it anyway.
So a couple of things. Number one, if I get something accurate, that does not demean the suffering of the people who are victims. It does not. In fact, it clarifies what they've gone through. Number one. Number two, we have a place here. It's called the Shade Tree in North Las Vegas, if you guys are aware, and they are a home for victims of domestic abuse.
Used to work there.
Yes, the Shade Tree.
I lived there as a child.
At the Shade Tree here? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible place. It's actually a defensible position. Like they have concrete walls everywhere. It's all boarded. I've been in there several times, and I've done charity events for the Shade Tree. If you guys want to do something about this, donate to the Shade Tree and donate to some charity that tries to work against sexual assault, and stop wasting your time listening to these stupid fuckers on TikTok who lie to you. They have done nothing to help this problem. And by them exaggerating, all they've done is made the problem worse. Does everybody understand? Like, let me ask you something. The Duke lacrosse scandal. Once you found out later that the girl had lied about everything, does that make other people who have sexual assault claims seem more credible or less credible? It makes them seem less.
It's like the boy who cried wolf.
Exactly. By the way, we're going to clip this, and you're going to see all these people in the comments being like, who cares if it wasn't 62 million? It really does matter. There's a word called homicide, and there's a second word called genocide. They mean two different things because numbers mean something. And so acting as if getting it accurate, what my point is, I'm not trying to promote that culture. I'm trying to promote people donating their time and resources to actual 501c3s that do something to try to stop this issue, instead of watching these idiots, these pandering, dog whistling, virtue signaling idiots on TikTok who keep saying this and making the problem worse. When Lindsey Hill lied about the whole Trevor Bauer situation, this whole Jonah Hill nonsense, the whole stuff with oh God, what's his name? Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And it turned out she lied about so much stuff. She had won a summary judgment against him before this in the UK. Basically, the judge just believed everything that she said. And of course, the vast majority of time, if someone's claiming that, they're probably telling the truth. They are. But the problem is when they don't, the people who should be most upset about false SA allegations are women. And the people who should be upset about this are actual victims of someone you and taking advantage of you while you're passed out, you should be angry that they got this wrong. And you know who didn't get this wrong? I'll give you credit, is CNN. If any of you guys actually read the CNN article, it discredits every single person who said that there were 62 million men who went and did this. So getting things right is always okay. It's always, and I'm telling you right now, in the future, we're going to get, there's Stephanie right there. In the future, we're going to get to something else where, you know, we talk about numbers. Numbers do mean things. Accurate numbers do mean things. And like you said before, I know a lot of women who actually believe the amount of sexual assault has increased over the last 50 years, but it's not even close. It's nowhere near as much.